We are continuing our discussion about the art gallery at the Clayton Powell State Office Building in Harlem. And today we have a fabulous grouping of people. We have artists who've had exhibited at the gallery, and a young lady, I asked her if she was the assistant director, and you know what she told me? She said she was a professional volunteer. Well, honey, I'm going to tell you, we need a lot more professional volunteers in this world, because this lady is a gem. Every time I've been up there, I've seen her beautiful face working so hard. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Link.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, I'm going to say your name again. Isma Pesson.
That's correct.
And how are you, my dear?
Fine, thank you.
Would you please introduce your artists?
Yes, we have here our brother, Lasana, Akachi, and we have here also John Ellerbree, who is a playwright extraordinaire.
And what do they have in common with the gallery?
Well, Lasana has exhibited there. I think, were you in a one-man show, a one-person show, Lasana, or a group show?
I was actually in the group show. It was the group show called Juxtapositions, which we did in conjunction with the curator of the gallery, Mr. Gregory Mills. And it was his concept to bring a collective of artists together who had done various work and who was community-based, but who also wanted to explore and stretch the limits of their things. And so we came up with this concept of juxtaposition, which was originated by the brother out of New Jersey.
Ben F. Jones.
Yes, Ben Jones. Ben Jones.
F. Jones.
Ben F. Jones, excuse me, Ms. Pesson. And Ben F. Jones had pioneered the whole concept of juxtaposition. And so in honor of him, we put on this particular exhibition, Juxtaposition, that dealt with bringing disparate elements together to create another whole and everything. And with that as our mission, we came up with some magnificent pieces and some pieces that really spoke to the whole idea of bringing disparate pieces together and making them speak in a collective and powerful voice. It was a wonderful exhibition, well attended, and had a whole lot of other elements to it outside of the just visual aspect of the arts that really launched the concept. Ben F. Jones himself showed up after making one of his return triumphant visits from the land of Cuba, and which is one of the things that he's been doing for over like 25 years or more.
No more.
And coming through and really appreciative of the fact that we came together to do this thing in honor of a concept that he pioneered. So it was a wonderful type of exhibit, and we have the...
and I remember that evening he was so gracious enough to autograph gigantic coffee table books of his art and his works, and everyone that came that evening, and it was a total full house because the art gallery in the Clayton Powell Jr. State Office Building has a seating capacity of 151 people, and so the house was totally packed, and I think we had a reception that night.
Oh, we definitely had a reception.
We had a reception, and he was at the door
and
signing every book. Oh yeah, the food.
And the drink was magnificent as well.
It was great, yes.
Yes, it was an opening night exhibition for his works, and I believe he donated one of his mural-sized pieces to the gallery at one point in time, or at least it was on exhibit for a while.
Exactly, it really was. Yes. So it was a grand, wonderful night and a culmination of months of planning and just a beautiful culmination of work, planning, and vision that was orchestrated by our good friend, leader, mentor, and curator, Mr. Gregory Mills.
Right.
So that was one of his triumphant moments.
Right. And I remember that we did a really extraordinary journal that night, that brochure that night that everyone received.
Yes.
Wanted to highlight
I still have
exactly. And all the artists. It was gorgeous, and I know that he worked with me even after we completed, after that exhibition, he worked with me in terms of developing another piece, which was an envelope using the images from the invitation and also making other note cards from that. So I had the pleasure of working with him further, even after the event.
Right. He was a great artist.
And, the other piece about that was that for a while, that event traveled in terms of all of the works that were created for that particular exhibition. We went as far as going to Mount Vernon and some other places beyond that within the local area in terms of exhibiting the work, because it was so well received and other people wanted to see it in other areas around the local metropolitan New York area. So,
but what was
I
your
was in
piece?
New Jersey.
It was in New Jersey?
New Jersey, yes.
But what was your piece too? Mixed media?
but yeah, my piece was mixed media, and it was a whole conceptual piece of, the cosmos coming to the heavens and dealing with the whole concept of the Black Lives Matters movement, with the centerpiece of it in terms of my juxtaposition piece, LeBron James speaking to it, because at one point during the thing he actually wore a T-shirt and banner and stuff that said Black Lives Matter, speaking out in a quiet but very eloquent way, him being athlete of the stature he was in terms of presenting that. So my piece was a amalgamation of those elements, as well as the essence of that coming down from the heavens, pouring into LeBron and going through the whole thing of the struggle with the Black Lives Matter to him, and manifesting into a whole nother destiny waiting to be revealed and unveiled. So that was my piece.
I knew your piece.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Brother Ellerbree. Thank you, John.
Okay, and then we have our other volunteer, but who is also primarily playwright extraordinaire, a producer, a director, a dancer, a composer, and a arranger. Did you leave anything out, John?
No, he's kept it.
No, he's also a cook. Yeah. So sometimes he caters the events.
I first got involved with the art galleries many years ago as a volunteer. I'm an advocate for saving the art gallery for the community. We need art in our community, which has been taken away. And we should not let that happen in our community, but we need our artists to express themselves.
Exactly. Let me just go on with what Brother Ellerbree said there, because I think he's so poignant with that. Fact of the matter is that elements and forces outside of our community who have no concept of what art means to our community is trying to dictate and trying to say what it should be in the context of our community. A presence that is alien to our community, doesn't really even know the art of his own community, and has the audacity and the temerity to try and dictate what goes on in our community, which has always been self-sustaining and healing with the contributions and the legacy of our art from all of our artists, not just those who are famed and who have note. We're proud and we treasure them, but we treasure also the fact that we are not dictated by art prejudices from downtown and the quote-unquote so-called New York elite art establishment, and that we design and we also support and we create our own art aesthetic, which involves the artists in the community, which creates what we need and what we should be about up in Harlem, while it is still the Harlem that was the thing that created all of this wonderful magnetism that now everybody else is trying to vamp on, but no one was a part of the creation of it but the people who were there in the first place.
I agree with him totally.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that we can recall the Adam Clayton Powell Jr. State Office building.
Exactly.
We held the 110th anniversary tribute to Adam Clayton Powell Jr. on November 29th of 2018, and that was very well attended. But unfortunately, it had to be curtailed because we were not allowed to use the art gallery, or we were prevented from using the art gallery. So we had to stand out in the 30-degree temperature, which was extraordinarily cold, November 29th last year, in order to pay tribute to Adam Clayton Powell and this powerful building. And that event was attended by his son, I believe, and his grandson.
I was there.
Yeah, we were all there. Freezing cold. We even had a 96-year-old Miss Nixon.
Nixon, she was a member of my church.
Right.
Mother African Mother A.M.A.A. Zion Church.
A.M.A.A. Zion
Yeah,
Church.
she's a member of my church.
Yes, and she spoke, and she knew Adam Clayton Powell, and she talked about all of his efforts to bring community together to make sure that there was justice and fairness in the community. Even the fact that he went to various department stores to make sure that we had people of a darker hue working in those stores. So the thing is, having that beautifully renovated gallery we did not have opportunity to be in there to pay tribute to this great person. So that's what we're fighting against now also, because for the past 17 months, as we all know here, we've been banned from exhibiting in the gallery. 17 months has transpired since March of 2018.
True.
Well, I don't know if you I mean, I know you were there that day, and I don't know if you were at the meeting, but I was in a state when I walked in the room. I mean, I knew something was going on. I remember when I had to come up there and take my workout, and everybody else had to get their workout because something was happening. But I honestly, until I walked in that room and saw the way they had just taken, I could say a sledgehammer, I could say a shovel, I could say a hammer, I could say a bomb, whatever they did, and wiped out what was happening there. Now, first of all, I just want to say, nobody's putting down our great artists. Nobody's putting down. We love them. We admire them. They came from us. They are us. Exactly. Nobody's against their work. So don't tell me we are against them. I'm just saying who we're for. We're for our community. Exactly. And speaking of our community, I don't want to preach too much longer because I know our time is going to be gone. But I'm going to put up some of these images that were taken at the gallery, and I want you to just comment as they come on the screen, okay?
Sure, La-Verne. That was a gathering of the juxtaposition artists, and when everybody was doing their first drafts and showing the first pieces that they had come up with, because like I was describing for the conceptual piece of the juxtaposition exhibition, we had put together different pieces and come together to bring a whole. This was the first results of everybody's first draft pieces. Some had actually two, where they came together and they were showing it, and we took a group to show all of the wide variety of people who had participated
in this workshop.
In the workshop, exactly.
And I believe it was a 2 or 3 day workshop that included lunch. It was 3 days and included lunch, and everybody had the opportunity to show their two juxtapositioned pieces
that had been done up to that point.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
This I'm trying to get a hold of this, so you could just comment.
Well, that particular piece right there is my piece, and that's the one that I was talking about with the Black Lives Matter, coming from the cosmos, bleeding into the whole concept of Black Lives Matter, starting in St. Louis, and then going down to the basketball player LeBron James, who I put in there because he had the whole thing on with Black Lives Matter, I Can't Breathe, which was referring to the Eric Garner situation when that cop Pantaleo had put him in the chokehold and killed him. And so, in remembrance of Eric Garner passing, him and some other notable NBA players had wrote T-shirts that said "I can't breathe," speaking to the fact, without even saying a word, that we support our community and we're down. Because sometimes we love to criticize our athletes when we feel that they're disassociated from our community, don't seem like they're there, but we need to also reward them and also show that we support them when they support us, and they know what's going on, and they make an awareness in our situations that are happening in our community which aren't being addressed. And I thought that was very important, which is one of the genesis of my particular piece with that. And going to this piece right here.
John, what do you have to say about this piece?
Here, we stood outside. We had a rally about 2 weeks ago to approach the community to save the art gallery.
Well, this was on the same day that Albany came to with us that morning of October 30th at 9 o'clock a.m.
Yes, and we had a rally after that outside the art gallery, and we passed out so many flyers in our community to get them involved to save our gallery, which a lot of them didn't know about the gallery, so we informed them about the gallery, so they can come and support us. And we need the support to save our gallery and our community.
Okay, well, this piece in particular.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay,
well, in reference to Save the Art Gallery, Right now, it's come now to.
I'm going to go back to that one if I. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this piece in particular, when we demand cultural justice, now it seems as we've been banned from the art gallery.
Right.
It's no longer the position of ease of access because we were required to have so much documentation in order to set a calendar date, which had to be approved by Albany in order to have the event. So the day of October 30th, when we were visited by Albany Office of General Services, who administer to all of the state buildings in New York, when that particular commissioner met with us that morning, we had a 90-minute meeting, or we should say a 90-minute dialogue, because it was so very impassioned, and Ms. Gittens spoke so eloquently and in such a impassioned way that I think people were just brought to tears practically in her talk and telling us about what had happened to the gallery, how she had her exhibits in the gallery, and how they should not be taken away from the community. But that same night, Albany had their opening night exhibition of the Harlem Arts Exhibition, which will go on until January 12th. That event was seemingly not well attended because it wasn't well promoted. The community wasn't even aware of it. So at the time that was going on, we passed on those flyers
out to the community,
right,
and the rally
to bring awareness to the fact that we were being banned from exhibiting there.
And let me just put a coat on what she had just said, Ms. Pesson had said about that with the demand for cultural justice. When you're dealing with a situation like that, you're talking about the GSA office or people of that ilk who come down, they answer to one person, and that's essentially the governor. And quite frankly, it seems to me that this governor, has an agenda that basically wants to totally cut out and undercut any type of cultural imperatives that come out of our community, and basically just wants to denude and basically sabotage anything that comes out. It's not like any support that comes from the community, and he's always been kind of distant in support. He has no vision in terms of what goes on with our community. I don't even think he has a vision of what goes on with his own community in terms of the art that comes out of that, the Italian community, let alone trying to judge what goes on in our community. The man who's before the governor, who people love to say is the accidental governor, but I don't think he's accidental. He was there as governor when he's supposed to be. Governor Patterson has more vision, and he's supposed to be legally blind than this rascal who's in there right now trying to dictate to us. That's just the truth, unvarnished, and calling it as we see it. And we need to get back to that, because sometimes we are too busy trying to be politically correct when we see a wrong going on and don't call it out for what it is. If he's really about his business, he needs to keep his nose out of our cultural affairs and be about the business of governing and build the airport or whatever he's trying to do, and not be micromanaging up in our affairs when he still don't have his own thing in order. If he's trying to run for president in 20-something, he's going to put himself in a bad position messing with us like this.
Yes, he is. I agree with you.
Here.
Lasana, I agree with you.
What's this beautiful site we're looking at?
That's, we had the painting for the seniors. They were painting and creating a workshop, creating their own art designs. It was fabulous. It really was.
Senior projects are awesome. I don't know. I mean, between the seniors, the children, you don't miss anybody, and this is a thrill.
And they had a ball. The seniors really had a ball, and the children, we had a really a ball. We created things that we like. It was beautiful. Really.
Well, it was free. It's free and open to the public. We call it a senior paint workshop, but anyone can come in. You don't have to be a senior. And again, lunch was provided. And usually it's a 2 to 3 day workshop, so they can complete as many canvases as they have the time to on any particular day. And in the evening, some of these events also invited the public and the seniors to stay and look at relatable films pertaining to whatever we were doing that day in terms of the art, or any other film that was uplifting to the community, or historical or documentary.
La-Verne, what Isma said is so valuable and so real in terms of what this institution has done prior to basically being forced out and locked out, in terms of involving our community, in terms of making sure that we all have a part in making the art and making the energy of inclusion of bringing the community together. And this is what I think that these people hate up in Albany, because they're always trying to undermine and stick their nose into something whenever it looks like we're coming together and we're doing something positive. But if there's anything that's negative, they'll try to stay away and won't even do any help in terms of stopping that. But something positive, they instantly on to try and stomp on and stop it down. And we're just sick and tired of the hypocrisy of this administration in there right now, who talks about being about uplift and this and that, and does all of these type of shoddy type of things. It's just disgraceful.
This is Sir Lewis. Next image. He's an artist. He's an actor, writer, playwright,
Stage manager.
Stage manager.
He was with the well-known Hatley Players. Miss Gertrude Jeanette, the legendary Miss Gertrude, she was the founder of the theater of the Hatley Players, and she passed on now. So God bless her soul. And he is definitely a great artist.
And always supportive. He comes to every event. He lives about 1 or 2 blocks from the Clayton Powell Junior State Office building.
He does.
So we invite him all the time.
This is a nice.
Is this his piece also?
I think this is Mr. Mills' piece.
Oh, yes, that's probably the curator's piece, Greg Mills.
Mr. Mills' piece.
He's an extraordinary artist, too. I've seen many of his works.
It could be the Greg Mills show if he was just looking out for himself.
I know, exactly.
But that's the beauty of Greg Mills, is that he looks out for all the community and tries to make an area for all the artistic energy to come through and really make a contribution to be seen.
He should be celebrated.
Yes, he should be. He should be lauded with the highest accolades for what he brings to this process.
Of course.
But you know, when the commissioner's office from Albany came that day, they did not even acknowledge Greg as a curator for 25 years.
Wasn't that it? Oh,
no, they didn't acknowledge it even as being an art gallery. They wanted to change it to a community center, a community room.
I mean, the nerve, the way they just. I still can't get over it.
I'm
going to be quiet. I'm going to let y'all do the talking. Go on.
When I walked in this gallery the other day, it really
felt sterile, right?
Yes, it had no life to it. I said, wow, this is terrible. And it's so bare. I said, this is terrible. You're taking our soul. Actually, we have soul in our community. When we do something like art and music, we have soul. So that's what they're doing, is they're trying to delete the soul you have.
Like with rock and roll. They do. And called it rock.
Rock. That's everything.
Really?
You know, a good thing to know about this whole process when it came about. Sister was on. Is the fact that when they came in there to get the place, they never said that they were doing renovations or anything like that. They just came in and ran in and said, "Let's get this stuff out of here." Didn't say they were going to do the place over, because if it had been a thing of respect and of appreciation, we said, "Look, we really want to do and upgrade the gallery. Could you just move the stuff out there just to get the stuff out of there?"
Well, they even before that, they just dismissed 5 events that we had scheduled and we had promoted throughout the community. One of which included, one of which with no explanation. One of which included Raleigh High School's 10th student art exhibition. There was no respect for the students, and there was no cultural diplomacy. There was no cultural competency. So we did mention that to the commissioner when she showed up that October 30th morning.
And they just sat there like, oh, okay, so what else is new? And then they had the nerve to talk about the time that was passing, and they had to leave. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're talking about our lives. You're talking about our culture. You're talking about who we are as people, as artists. Okay, let go on.
This is Geraldine, a friend of mine. Geraldine, she was introduced by me to the art gallery, and now she's found her niche in the art gallery. She loves to paint now through the workshop, and she loves it. She does.
Oh, and this was the various
artists from singers. So singers who paint
from one of the paint workshops.
Yes, the singers. This is
Anthony
Burton. He's a fabulous artist.
He's an extraordinary artist, and I think he assisted us one day with the paint workshop. But this one was more themed in terms of we were working with doing portraits, and so he was saying how to place the nose, the different positions to place the various parts of the face, and so that was a good learning experience for them, because a lot had never done that, doing a portrait even of themselves or just imitating the images he put up there.
And let me just speak to Anthony right quick in terms of what Isma just said. that
got
Anthony
15
is
seconds.
Anthony is an artist and a teacher par excellence. He brings passion. He brings a warmth and a humanity in terms of transmitting the work and transmitting the craft of doing these types of things to those who participate, and he makes it a wonderful and enriching experience, and we are rich to have him involved in anything that we do.
He does.
And he's also the art director over at the Pelham Fritz Community Center, which is right at Marcus Garvey Park, where you have all of the great concerts like the Charlie Bird Jazz Festival that happened this summer, which was excellent. And, you know, he's over at that spot doing his work every day and every time.
And he volunteers his services at the art gallery.
That's right.
And no one ever knows how extraordinary he is, a museum-style artist. You would never know that. He never goes around and be boastful about his talent.
He's very humble.
It's a beautiful spirit, beautiful spirit, and a good brother.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say this, but our time is almost up. I knew it was going to go. I didn't know it was going to go that fast. I mean, I hope I've shown most of the images, and I hope I have given people just a little taste of what's going on.
Can I say one more thing?
You can say more than one thing, even though you don't have that much time. But I just want to say the language that you're using is not the language of that, you know, artists in galleries sit around and talk and critics write about. This is the language of the people that you're using. You're using everyday language, and you're using everyday emotions, and you're talking about just life. It's not a strange thing. Art is part of our lives, and this is what's coming across to me. I'm sure it's coming across the way to my audience. I'll shut up right now. You only have a few seconds left. Give me some closing words. Give me some websites. Give me some telephone numbers.
Oh,
you got it.
Well, the art gallery did something for me when we did the tribute to Lena Horne. I first showcased my play that I've written. That is being performed at the Cotton Club, and I want to thank them, Mr. Mills and Isma, for giving me my first chance to be at the Cotton Club.
Well, he premiered his play at the art gallery, which was in context with the tribute to Lena Horne's 96th birthday. Because in Harlem, we like to pay tribute to icons and to people who are also artists as activists, of which she was one. So we did that for John Ellerbree as a playwright. But the thing is, we have to realize that you don't have to be an artist to support art. You don't have to be an artist to support the art gallery. I'm not an artist. I'm not a visual artist, but still, I volunteered my services. I don't reside in Harlem, and I come there regardless daily to assist the curator.
Give me some telephone numbers. Quick.
Telephone numbers.
The art gallery's telephone number 212-749-5298. If you'd like to email, you can send an email to I.A.M.A.A at pipeline.com.
We're out. Good night. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Link.